Okay, we should be recording. I was going to turn my AC off, but it's way too hot to do that. So, suffer with some background noise. Also, I know the lighting isn't very great. Where I have my lamp above me isn't the greatest spot for recording stuff. It puts shadows in very weird places. Also, my shirt is a Death Wish Aquarius shirt. It's not in sale anymore, so I can't link it, unfortunately. I think they are doing their Aries right now, or Taurus one. I'm not too familiar with the rest of my astrology signs. But today, I am actually pretty relieved. The last couple of days, I've been having some pretty bad anxiety and stuff because I had gotten a jury duty summons. And while under normal circumstances, I don't think I would have minded all that much having gone in, but I have really, really bad anxiety. And just being in an enclosed space for up to 8 hours a day for a week or longer, I probably would have at some point probably cried. When I was in school assemblies, and I just realized I'm peeking a little bit, I apologize. When I was in school, like high school and stuff like that, and we're in assemblies and stuff, I almost pretty much every time we had an assembly threw up. I would be sweating, I'd be nervous, I'd be so fidgety, I could hear my heart in my ears and all of that, and it was just not a fun time. So today I had gone to see my provider or my GP to get a excusal letter to send in, which I should have had this done a while back. I got the summons on Friday, and I wasn't able to get an excusal until Wednesday, which is today. So almost a week after I got the summons letter, I got my excusal letter. Here in America, you only have 7 days to report to the courthouse whether or not you're going to show up for jury, or if you need to postpone it or need an excusal or whatever. The way that they have it set up is because of the pandemic times, you can send in an email with a letter of excusal being like, hey, I can't come in for this reason, or I have to postpone for this reason, otherwise you have to accept it. They only accept excusal reasons for medical or financial reasons. They don't really accept it for much else. They do give you leeway if you have kids and stuff like that, but I'm a single person living at home, so my only excuse would be the fact that I would probably throw up in a courtroom. The letter of excusal was actually very generalized. They didn't specify that I had anxiety on the letter of excusal. It was just that my provider said that due to certain medical conditions, it would be best for me not to be there. And to me, I think that would have been the best way for them to have worded it, because not only would the anxiety have prevented me from going, I also have respiratory issues, and right now I'm working through trying to get an autoimmune disorder figured out. So it would not have been a good idea for me to go in and end up having a flare-up, whether it be like a rash comes back, or I start feeling sick, or I start sweating to the point of not being able to control my breathing and how I feel and stuff like that, or contracting COVID and not being able to fight it off because my lungs are not strong enough to withstand any more damage than what they've occurred or has had occurred to them. So I got excused. The moment I sent that letter in, like 2 or 3 minutes later, the people in the courthouse had to have been bored, I got excused. I double checked. I kept checking throughout today to make sure that I wasn't going to be suddenly re-accepted or that my excusal got denied. I'm free of having to go to jury, which I am thankful for. I personally don't think we should be having civilians choose whether or not people in domestic situations or hardened criminals who have committed murder, probably multiple times, choose whether or not they are guilty or are allowed to go free. It's a very incorrect system. Whether or not you're religious, it doesn't matter whether or not you believe in judging somebody. It's more on the lines of they want unbiased people. So if you're a psychologist or if you know the law at all, you're immediately excused. They don't want people who know what they're doing to be in a courtroom to decide the fate of these people. Even if you're somebody who's not actually a psychologist but can read body language really well, you're probably also going to be excused for the reason of saying like somebody twitched the wrong way and then suddenly they're guilty, or they have some kind of like nervous disorder so that makes them innocent. They don't want things like that occurring. In my situation, especially with the anxiety, not only does being in large crowds bother me and being trapped in a space that I can't leave, it's also an issue of I'm most likely going to be put on a trial with most likely domestic things, but there's a possibility of, again, somebody murdering somebody or something as petty as theft or whatever, and being put on a jury of people significantly older than me who will try and bully me into going with what they want, telling me that I have to decide that this person is guilty or innocent based on the fact that they're 50, 60 years older than I am. Which is another reason I don't think I would be a good candidate to be in a jury, because I would be not so much easily influenced, because I would have my own opinion and I would have like my own say and my own reasonings and stuff for whether or not somebody's innocent or guilty. It would be more along the lines of I would feel so uncomfortable and unable to voice how I feel that I would just go along with what they're saying just to get out of there, to not be in that situation any longer than I had to. Here in America, we have jury for 1 week, and that is the minimum amount of time you can spend on jury. It's if you are summoned, if your trial only lasts a couple days, you're placed on another trial until you fulfill an entire week's worth. If you're placed on a trial and then placed on another trial within that 1 week of you having to serve, and that second trial takes longer than the, say, 5 days you had left of serving for that 1 week, you have to finish out that trial. They don't let you go after a week. You have to serve either 1 week minimum or however long your trial is going to go for. There have been instances, they're not common for civilian cases or for civilian trials, that they go on for years. And jury pay is, here in Washington, $10 a day plus travel. Some people can get away with doing jury for a week and not have it be financially burdened, and not have it be a financial burden at all. For those who are capable of doing that, awesome, congrats, go for it. I applaud you. I wish I was in that position. Not that I can serve jury, but I wish I was in a position to be capable of doing it. I do think the civilian duty is something we need to do. In my case, I'm not capable of doing it because I would be very influenced by something out of my control. And the light flickered. I lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about the legality of it. I was originally talking about the pay. At least here in Washington, it is, again, $10 a day. You do get mileage reimbursements Basically, if you ended up having to drive 5 miles to get to jury, they would reimburse you for 5 miles. Whether or not you spent 5 miles in gas, that's what they would pay you. If you ended up spending like $20 in gas, which could have been, let's say, 20, 30, 40 miles, they would only reimburse you for the distance that they have, whether or not there's traffic or you had to stop or if there's an accident or anything like that. If you do not show up to jury duty, it is a misdemeanor, and you can get arrested, and I think it's a 30-day jail period, either 30-day jail period or a pretty decent fine, and then you still have to serve jury. But it's one of those, if you're not going to show up, do try to get an excusal letter, because then you're not going to have a misdemeanor on your record, because the more misdemeanors you have, the more severe your punishments are going to become in the future. Like if you have a misdemeanor for not showing up to jury and then you get in a car accident and it was deemed your fault, that could show as being worse on your record in the long run. I disagree with how jury is done in America. I don't think we should even have jury duty, personally. It should not be left up to civilians, as I said, people who are going to be biased, people who have vendettas. It's not a volunteer service. You are summoned, and either you go or you don't. And more often than not, most people have to go. A lot of people have anxiety, a lot of people have medical reasons not to go, but they're not severe enough to disqualify them from being capable of sitting on a jury. There's certain reasons where people can immediately get disqualified, as I said, if you are a psychologist, if you're a law enforcer, or even a lawyer at all. If you have kids, you can immediately get disqualified from it. People in my situation where mental health could play an extreme factor in how I perceive information and how I judge information is also a factor. And then obviously some medical reasons. They don't exactly take asthma and stuff like that as a legitimate reason to be disqualified, but if it is severe enough for your doctor to say no, this person cannot go, then you'll get disqualified. Other than that, if you don't have a reason to postpone or be excused, you have to go. And while I think that is personally very wrong, I also think having jury duty by a civilian court is extremely wrong on the basis of we have a judge system, we have a legal system that dictates what is and isn't legal. The judge should be the one to make the call. The judge should be the one who takes the blame for why or how or who is and isn't guilty. Instead, in a civilian court, that is left up to the civilians, which I think is very wrong. Because if this person has a gang they're in, or they have a vendetta against the people who said, yes, this person is guilty, and they went to court, and they went to jail, then the civilians could potentially be a target of gang mafia, vendettas, and stuff like that. People who have no reason to have any association with this guy who killed somebody, or this couple who is fighting for the custody of their child. These people should not be involved in stuff like this. But the moment that the trial becomes finalized, the jurors have became a part of that trial. And a lot of the times, this stuff becomes public knowledge. While the jurors' names might not become public knowledge, most court cases are filmed, and while I do not agree to being on camera, I will not sign a non-disclosure agreement either. It's very, very wrong for a lot of this stuff to be forced onto a civilian who does not consent. Because I don't consent to being part of a criminal case. I don't consent to being on camera in a courthouse, nor do I consent to signing a non-disclosure agreement for the duration of a trial. While I disagree with those, because those do not disqualify me from being a juror, I would still probably have to be on a jury and be forced into silence and be forced to be part of a trial I feel extremely uncomfortable with. But that's America. We get fucked over all the time for things that we don't even have any reason to be fucked over for. We just are. Our laws and the way we handle things is very, very incorrect, and they are not likely to change because our society is okay with being that lazy and that politically and societally incorrect that none of us would want to do anything about it. We'll bitch and complain about it all the time, but we won't do anything to change it. And the moment we do get somebody to change it, nobody wants to sign or petition or riot or do anything for it. I don't really mean riot, but the thing where you just civilianly stand outside and hold signs and say, I disagree with this change. I don't know. Isn't it like not fencing? I don't know. The thing in SpongeBob where you hold picket fences or whatever and claim that the Krusty Krab is unfair. Anyways, I've been happy all day because I don't have to go to jury. I feel much more relaxed. Hopefully I can get some sleep tonight. I didn't get any sleep yesterday, even though I made the video that was very also anxiety inducing. The jury duty this last week has actually been more stressful for me than I've had in quite a while. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would have taken jury duty over what's been happening the last couple of years, but it's also, if I don't have to do jury duty because it'll make my anxiety worse and make me feel worse, then that's just another step up for my mental health. I'm not really a huge pusher of mental health or trying to get into all of that or an enthusiast of it. I believe more in, if you know what works for you, do it, instead of pushing all of these like medications and therapies and etc. I would rather somebody say, hey, I just need a day to go to the spa, relax, and feel okay. Instead of being like, I have to be on all of these medications and go to therapy and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There's a lot wrong with this world that I sincerely disagree with, but I can't do anything about it. Anyways, I have tea. It is oatmeal cinnamon tea by Celestial. It's actually really good. I have been trying to deal with not drinking so much caffeine and not drinking so much like sugary drinks. Whenever I drink alcohol, I prefer it to be mixed over drinking it straight because it really doesn't taste all that good straight. But some of the mixes are fantastic. Like, just today I tried 7-Up and Captain Morgan's Spiced Rum Original. And the Spiced Rum Original is a vanilla clove, I think, mix. It's very vanilla-y and you can taste it. And I mixed that with the 7-Up and it was really good. And sorry, allergies. I've been talking so much that it's been pushing stuff up into my nose and it's not fun. I only have allergies during spring and a little bit during summer, but that's only when the grass is just freshly cut and it's pollinated like the night before. I'm not really allergic to wood trees, obviously. Cotton trees, which we do have here in Washington quite a bit of. There's a redwood I'm allergic to, but we got rid of that. So I'm not having so bad of allergies. But again, with like the autoimmune disorder stuff, which I brought up earlier in this video, I've been itchy. I've had a rash on and off for several years. It's gotten better, as gross as that sounds. It's gotten better to the point where I might be past the rash phase, or if it's a rash due to one of my organs, being damaged or not functioning correctly, either that organ is completely dead or it's gotten better. Who knows? The medical system here is also garbage, and it's pandemic time too, so I can't really see a doctor every day if I needed to. The biggest struggle with having medical issues show up while a pandemic is in process. Actually, this showed up 2 years before the pandemic hit, and that's how long it takes for an autoimmune disorder to even get sorted out, or longer. I haven't been able to go in, I haven't been able to get biopsies done. I just today was able to get in only because I needed a letter of excusal, and I made it a very urgent, I need this today sort of thing. Like, they understand that jury duty is very not fun and kinda, you need to get that stuff sorted very fast. Which, thankfully, the scheduler understood that and got me in for today. But still, I wasn't even able to talk about having an autoimmune disorder. We talked about medications that I was on, and that was about it. I had my blood pressure taken. She listened to my heart. Didn't listen to my lungs, oddly enough, just my heart. I think it was because my blood pressure was raised. It's hot here. I don't do well with heat. And a lot of it, heat doesn't give me anxiety. Well, I shouldn't say that. I get the physical symptoms of anxiety, but I don't get the mental symptoms of anxiety when I'm in heat. When I'm in warm weather, I more or less get, like, I can get flushed very easily, and I can start having, like, really fast heart rate when I'm in direct sunlight or an atmosphere that's warm. A lot of people tend to fall asleep when stuff's warm or they're in a warm atmosphere. I don't. My body actually starts to panic. I am very much a rain and cold weather sort of person, which I like. Washington is no longer a completely rainy state. It's actually dry for a good half of the year now, unfortunately. But, what can you do? Yeah, my day's been pretty good. I wanted to play more Biomutant, but the last couple of days have been such, I guess, intense feelings that I haven't been able to sit down for any sort of period of time. I've been playing Animal Crossing for the last couple of months, and I played it on the 31st, and the only reason I was able to do that was because I still needed some fish and bugs to finish out May, and once I did that, once I knew I was free, that I didn't have to get these collectibles, my body is just like, no dude, you don't want to be playing this. Do anything else but be playing games. So, I've just been sitting around mostly, drinking a lot of water because I've been not very good at doing that. So, yeah. I hope we have a very short summer. Out of everything, a short summer, very early winter, I will be happy with that, and never getting another jury summons. But anyways, this has gone on for far too long. So, I'll end it here. My plushies will thank you for watching this video. I thank you as well. And I will see you next time. Bye.